Hello, Cosmic Family. Welcome back to another episode of Lunacy and
Logic.
with your host, Dr. Charlier. I'm an elemental healer bringing ancient wisdom back to a modern day.
I'm Lilith. I'm your Kundalini alchemist. And I forget my introduction, Charlie. We haven't done this in so long, man.
Oh, it's all good.
You'll
It's all
know
good.
by now. If not, go check a previous episode.
Thank you,
It's
everyone.
been like, what, 2 months?
Yes, thank you. We're happy to be back. As you can see, we have a new set. We've had some technical difficulties as well as some personal things. I mean, the astrology has not been kind to many of us at this time. So we've had a lot of things to kind of take care of on our end, but we're excited to finally be back where you see we have a new set, new technological advancements for the age of Aquarius. But we're excited to be back on the show as well. And we're hoping that, yeah, this new format is much more flowy and it's really helping us to actually post these a little bit more often. Do you have anything to share, Lilith?
Do I have anything to share?
Little parts.
Huh? There is no little parts.
Okay,
There is no
okay.
little parts.
So
There's
we'll get
only
right
big
into
parts.
let's go right into it. We've got a lot to say just because it's been a while since we've also as two of us we've hadn't had a chance to connect up, and there's been a lot of stuff going on in the codes of destiny, and so we are going to share some of that information and really just talk about life. I think life has been really tough for many of us, so we're going to get down and dirty in that real talk conversation. But let us get right into the codes of destiny. So, what's going on in the astrology, Lilith?
I think the alignment that nobody can ignore right now is basically Neptune and Saturn in Aries. It's not quite what I expected. Remember originally, so here's what I originally said. I said that previously when Saturn first moved into Aries, okay, that was without Neptune there. So it was only one lethargic heavy planet. So fine. When Saturn first moved into Aries, when Saturn was in Pisces, it was like basically, the ruler of the house of my 12th house. So I found I was like suffering from extreme depression, and a complete lack of motivation. But then when Saturn moved into Aries, I was working like a little demon. I was like, you know. And so I thought, oh, okay, all I have to do. So, and when Saturn went back into Pisces, the depression came back. So I was like, okay, all I have to do is last until Saturn gets into Aries. Then my depression will go away and I'll be able to go full blast. Well, the problem is that Saturn didn't go into Aries. It went in there with Neptune. So these are basically your two most lethargic planets in the zodiac. So I am actually feeling even more of a heaviness than what I did. Maybe not so much of a depression. I feel like the depression has a positive prognosis because it's now been downgraded to melancholy. But what's really going on is that heaviness in the physical body. So I haven't been able to bring myself to work out for like 2 months. I've been going for some walks along the river and everything, but outside of that, have not been able to work out. Like, a lot of the times I'm just like sitting or lying down, like I can't move. There is a huge lack of motivation. And I think what that boils down to is if you think about Saturn and Neptune in Aries, so Aries is that primary energy of your identity, right? And it's also a fire sign, so it's that drive. When it's been taken over by like Saturn and Neptune, these two heavy lethargic planets, you can see that that drive actually goes down. And I believe what's really happening there, Charlie, is that everybody's going to be going through this identity crisis. And I think what's really happening there is that will is no longer being fueled by ego or urgency. Saturn and Neptune is coming in to dissolve that old way of acting, where you're able to be manipulated or fake or rushed because of this urgency and this pressure. Like those two planets are wiping all of that out. So it really is about that dissolution in the beginning. And this is what we're all going to be living through. So it's a little bit of an identity crisis, but really to make way for something beautiful, for a world that is based off of truth rather than this false ego. So that's kind of my main themes that I've been experiencing with Neptune and Saturn in Aries.
Yeah, Neptune, Saturn, Aries started right around February, right? And so we're now getting the sun in Aries now. We're in Aries season. And so the sun in Aries is giving me a pick me up, versus I agree with you when Sun, Saturn, Aries, when Neptune, Saturn in Aries started, I felt lethargic as well, almost like I had like I still had the motivation to do what I'm doing, but it almost like it made me slow down. It made me calm down a little bit. And then, like you said, that pressure that I needed to be a certain way, that went out the door. And a couple of things that I had pressure on, I have many pressures these days, but some of the stuff that I felt pressure for, um, it was just not there. And I was like, am I making this up? Or am I putting my own pressure on myself? Or are people putting pressure on me that I don't feel is aligned to who I am? And so I've had a lot of time to like say, hey, what is it that I want to do? Because a lot of people want me to be a certain way, and that's not necessarily moving in my pace. But rather, and this goes back to like people will tell us, "Oh, Charlie, you should do a podcast." And I've had many people tell me I should do a podcast many times. And so a couple of times I was like, "Oh, I should do it," and then like things didn't happen. And so I learned that like, yes, I want to. Like the trigger of the podcast is there, but it was on my own time rather than feeling like I should do it now because like three people asked me to do it. It's like, sure, but like, do I want to do it? Because these three people, whether I do it or not, they might listen to it, they may not. And I end up doing something that I didn't want to do, right? So I feel like just like you, I had to like rethink and allow myself to see the projections being thrown at me. And then when Aries, so like yeah, we're probably like 2 weeks into Aries, Sun in Aries. And so I had to fix my car. It's a lot of car trouble, right? But literally because of
I
that,
wanted to hear about that cycle into work.
yes. So I have not been working out as well because I've been moving in and out of my new clinic now, and I'm talking from the new clinic, so I'm super excited. But literally, I decided to move my home office to my clinic office. And so I can't work from home now, right? But because I took in my car, I literally like, how do I get into work to do this podcast? I have a bike. So I fixed up this bike that I had yesterday that my nephew gave me. So it's like a kid's bike, a high school bike, right? So like,
It's by Aries. That's Aries right there.
I know it's an Aries
The
bike.
child energy coming in.
My nephew had it in high school. He never used it. It's all rusted up. I put in new tires yesterday. I was like, let's go. The gear's broken. So I was biking. It took me half an hour for a 10 minute drive. It took me 30 minutes to get into work. I was huffing and puffing. And then I got into work. I'm like, I swear that was the most amazing bike ride. It was painful because you could hear me huffing and puffing and sweating the entire time. But I hadn't run in a while. I hadn't any exercise in a while, and I was like, "Oh my God, I needed this." As if like the energy that the universe is like, Charlie, you're getting too slow. You're getting a little, chubby on the side. You need to go and start burning that fat. So getting on my bike, I was like, "Wow, universe, you really want me to get on my bike?" So, and I haven't had like I used to drive an hour and a half sometimes to go to these other places to do Reiki and to do some of the alternative healing because where I lived, I didn't have a space to do that. And so now my clinic is literally 10 minutes away from my house. And I was like, you know what? I used to bike in Cali. I haven't biked in Houston, Texas in like 5 years since I've been here. And
I
so
think it's dangerous to bike in
I
Houston.
know it is. There's no sidewalks. So you are dangerously close to their really fast driving trucks. And people love their trucks here. So people are driving fast with their trucks. And without sidewalks, it's super dangerous. But I found a couple of sidewalks. And so that allowed me to get to work on my bike. And I was like, wow, this is Sunny and Aries now. versus before. I didn't feel like working out. I was like, I would start my workout and I would just end it. I would be like, I'm not feeling it. Today, I felt it, but I knew I had to do it. And that's the energy that in Aries, things are gonna happen, but without the fire, things are just gonna feel like you're dragging your feet to do something you're really excited for. So I'm excited that the sun in Aries is now adding a little bit of oomph, but man, that Neptune slows things down and so does Saturn. So I really get that
So
like,
they're both in there slowing down that fire. So it's really like, I mean, that fire needs to be grounded back into the water to really harmonize those energies. If you think about like from medicine perspective, the fire has to be grounded into the kidneys, the water.
yes, yes,
Because Neptune is water, Aries is fire, and Saturn is earth, but it's cold. So it's
yes.
also adding to that congealing energy.
Yeah, it feels like you're trying to light a fire in a very windy, rainy season, and you're just like really hard trying to like. And so I feel like there's a protection of your ego in the thunderstorm of rain and stuff. Like, and here
Well,
in
no, that thunderstorm and rain is washing the ego away. There's no
yes,
protection of the ego,
yes,
at
but
least
you're
not the
still.
false ego.
But you're still trying to like protect that light that is still within you that like knows that it's about to wake up, but like it's waking up in like what I call the apocalypse background, right? Where like the whole system is falling apart. There's fire behind you and there's rain coming down and you're walking down with like things hitting in your face. You're like just walking like in a
You
movie.
like that Scorpio energy.
Okay. Well, Aries, Scorpio, but because of that Neptune, it
Okay, airy
feels,
stuff hitting in your face. Okay, fine.
yeah, that feels like Neptune, like throwing shit at my face. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. So you didn't see it coming.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You never see Neptune coming. But it is also like really breaking the illusion that like, and this is why I find spiritual circles are all falling apart now. And that is why I've been pushing people to say, stop going to spiritual circles, take spirituality to the everyday space. So like, how do I take spirituality to the gym? How do I take spirituality to the library? How do I take the spirituality to the everyday space, right? I'm pushing right now wellness concerts and wellness bands so that Friday, Saturday night, we go to places where there's sound bowls, there's music, live music, and we are drinking teas, getting massages, and doing breath work. That's what I'm pushing
I just
for.
want to let you know that since Aries is the primary energy, you better be bringing some drums in that music.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a lot of drums. So a lot of the bands is drum circles included. So we let people play the drums because right now you have to really beat that energy out because right now a lot of anxiety is coming up, and if you're not processing, you're just gonna attack yourself. So we're allowing people to like drum it out because that drumming really helps release energy. And because I'm a Reiki practitioner, you gotta clear energy. So one of the time that we used to do this at this place, it was to be an ecstatic dance place. And so what I realized too, because we're sensitive to energy, a lot of times people are like dancing and doing the whole ecstatic dance, but they're breathing out gunk constantly, right? And then if you're doing breath work and you're doing that sigh, you're releasing energy, negative, dirty energy. And so a lot of these places do not
That's
do
almost like breath of fire in yoga.
exactly. But a lot of times without that fire, you're just releasing energy because the fire purifies the energy. But if you're just releasing, you're not being using the visuals of fire coming out, then you're not purifying the energy coming out. So a lot of these places have had a lot of energetic gunk. And so we chose to leave one of these places and found a new place, and we felt it was very energetically different, very light. But when we were doing the breath work and people were releasing, I felt called to release all of their stuff. I brought in my dragons. I brought in some violet rays. I did some gongs. I had some bowls, and we were just transmuting the energy that people were releasing. And that's when I realized that a lot of these breathwork places or these places are doing yoga. They do not have energetic hygiene. Where they have like a Reiki pranic healer practitioner, they're cleaning up the room for energy because after a session of people releasing energy, it just sticks around, right? And so I went in and cleared the energy so that after our event, people were like, wow, the energy's still very high. I'm like, yeah, because I made sure you guys weren't leaving the energy on the ground. Because then you walk around and suddenly you're re-picking up the crap that you actually put out, right? And so that's been super important for me to really tune in to. Like I said, Neptune taught me that, like, Charlie, stop with the ego and starts not the ego, but sense and trust that you are very in tune with the energetic hygiene of this place and then call it out because not everybody understands that. And that's why we need with Neptune in Aries your ego is upgraded to a soul ego. That means my spirit itself feels very frustrated when it's spiritually dirty. Versus before, I could totally go, oh, whatever, the place is dirty. I'm okay with it, right? Like we kind of ignored it. But today, my that Neptune in Aries forces me to go, hey, energy's negative here. Do you want to sit in it or do you want to walk away? Because you sit in it means you have chosen to be in these negative thoughts. And so I feel like this Neptune is really raising our own awareness of our ego to be like, stop thinking your physical ego and recognize your spiritual ego first. And then your body needs protection and support and healing. And that's what's happening now in the wellness space. I think the wellness space is getting an upgrade where the physical body's important, where I think too many spiritual circles love to like leave their bodies. And so what would happen
Excuse me.
is a lot of people's everyday life was really uncomfortable, and then they would go to these like spiritual circles to own themselves into a higher vibration and then go home to the gunk that they were living in. And now with Neptune and Aries and Saturn telling you, yeah, break those boundaries and then rebuild a sacred space for your ego to feel spiritual
Okay,
because this is not just a human experience, it is a spiritual experience from the get-go. Someone gaslit
for
us and
sure.
told us it's just a physical experience, and that's the biggest lie and the delusion
But it's
that,
really, I mean, this is the embodiment of spirituality or the embodiment of God's will, like giving, that uh, non-structural energy, giving, which is Neptune, giving it structure um, with Saturn,
yeah, yeah,
and because it's Aries, you're dealing with your will or your ego. So it's like it's an embodiment within the self.
yes, exactly. So it's
But
been
it's you 100% right about people that don't have people do not have spiritual hygiene. They don't even know what the fuck it is. This is the problem. I've been checking out like some of the people's offerings, what they offer what they're offering to. You know how many places are um, saying that they can give you like a Kundalini awakening or one of the chakras opening in like a session of like an hour and a half, like 2 hours. And I'm like, um, first of all, you've just lost all credibility with me because it's not possible. You know what I'm saying? And secondly, when you talk to the people and you bring up the spiritual hygiene, nobody even knows what you're talking about. Because I come across a lot of people with Pluto in the 12th house, both natal and transits at the moment. I deal with a lot of people like that. And these are the people that need that spiritual hygiene the most. None of them know about it. So just nobody knows about it. I mean, do you remember the time I got infected by that palm reader at the clinic?
yeah, yeah,
You
you
remember
told me.
that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's because he wasn't doing his spiritual hygiene. And he also had Pluto in the 12th house.
And that
Sucked my way chi dry and within an
yes.
hour I had to leave the clinic and go home sick.
And
What a
I
freak
find
show.
this is very common for like Reiki practitioners because there's a lot of focus on working with the energies in someone's body and kind of working with that, moving it out, and then um, bringing in higher divine powers. But a lot of times they're not told cut your cords, clean your auric field, and then you know. Be conscious of what came in and out of that person because some of that stuff kind of lingers in you, right? Because you're doing the work, you're creating a connection, a spiritual cord. And so a lot of times, and really that spiritual cord is what makes me us empathic. Because you're like, when a patient comes in, yeah, I'll look at them and I'll tune in. And when I tune in, I create a cord. And that's why people are like, how are you so aware of what people need? Like, because I put a cord on them and I'm understanding what they're going through, a diagnostic cord, right? But you got to cut it afterwards. It's like an umbilical cord. I got to cut it. So I've done this
I love that our school taught us that.
exactly. We call
One of the things that I love the most was when Dr. Sparkman taught us.
you going trembling horse.
He said, if you, yeah, that jump and the shake. He said, if you really don't have time and you really can't
Yeah.
remember anything, just do that jump and the shake. And I do that. I do that often,
Yeah, yeah.
actually.
And do you know who does that? Animals, y'all. Animals, when they fear and they go into a fight or flight moment, you see their nervous system kind of change. And then what happens when everything's okay? They look around, there's no more problem. They will actually shake themselves off and then they just keep going. The shaking releases actually cortisols out of your body. Energetically, you're reshaking your magnetic field, and so any negative energy that was around you falls off. Like it's that simple, yet so often we do not even know these simple things. And some people do it naturally. Like there are very sensitive people that will actually start shake it off. I usually do this whole, dandruff move where you're like shaking off things off your shoulders. And sometimes when
You
I,
do it like that. I just do it like
yeah, and I do it a lot when like people like send projections at me. They're like, "Oh, Charlie, blah 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 blah." You're like, "I'm sorry, no, that's not me."
that. Yeah. No, exactly.
But yeah, it's very important for us. I think spiritual hygiene will be a very, very important part. I think in general, we are all, I think now because I feel like there was a recent awakening. Last year, 2025 was like the most recent set of people kind of remembering and waking up to their spiritual selves. It's now time for us, and I think this whole Neptune, Saturn, and Aries is kind of waking us up to like now it's time for you to pay attention to your spiritual ego and your spiritual hygiene, because now it's time for us to pay attention to recognize that we're constantly in spiritual goo of each other, and this is why you've seen during COVID. Why we were so lonely is because we weren't even in each other's fields. That's why we were not allowed to be 6 feet apart from each other. The auric field is about 3.5 feet, but it goes go up to 6 feet. And what happens is when everyone is 6 feet apart, your auric field don't touch. Because if you're closer, less than 6 feet apart, your auric fields start to touch and you create this viscous Pisces energy, which then your auric field is giving data to the other person's auric field. And that's why in person, we're able to sense people's lies and truth, and people are more willing to be authentic with us. Versus now with the internet, you are way beyond 6 feet. And so that's why there's a lot of lies and betrayals and fake news and fake everything on TV, on the internet, because you don't have the auric field proximity. So that's why like today now I've been pushing, hey, we should still meet in person. People meeting in person can have a deeper relationship, a connection than anyone who's just on the internet. And this is, you could see the dating scene is dying because the apps are dying because people have removed the spirit out of dating and now they're just dating for like physical needs. And this is why like no one's dating because how long does physical needs last before you realize you just need someone that just looks at you and gets you, right? Spiritually. And that's not happening because no one is meeting in person. And that's what's really adding to, I think, the oh, so with this Neptune, Saturn, and Aries, some of us are having a tough time, and some of us are having a shitty, fucked up time. Those people haven't done the work. They've been drinking, partying, acting like humanity's been okay. And so now with the wars, with the system, really, I think with the dark system falling apart now, people who haven't done the work think that that system falling apart is them falling apart. So then there's the whole like, oh my God, we're going to war. Oh my God, we're going to nuclear war. Our life is over. They're gonna keep playing in that fear because they haven't done the internal work that none of that matters. You know, what happens and what matters is really your spiritual connection with one-on-one with people around you. And we talk about this as presence, right? And so because of that, like people are not realizing that you might think the world is at war because you're watching TV and all that shit, but you go in and you hang out with people around you and you realize people are going through like personal shit to realize that they are better, bigger than just a human body, but they are the divine spirit reincarnated, and it's trying to relate to each other because in our relationship with each other is when we actually find the divine in each other. So I think that's where I'm seeing more fun for me, but most people think the world is blowing up and dying, and those are the two realities that I'm finding.
Well, are those not the two timelines that we're faced with on
Yes,
the
it is.
planet right now?
Exactly.
There's this split, and that's Neptune and Saturn right there. The split becomes visible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. Yeah, because I have also seen like there's people that are on that timeline of like nuclear war, doom, and all of that. And then there's others that see what's happening but see the bigger picture. And this is obviously the positive manifestation of Neptune, right? That ability to see the bigger picture and so develop some kind of understanding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's really important for us to, those who have known that this was going to happen, because really, if you're paying into astrology, this is not anything new. You may not recognize the intensity of the signs, but I knew this going in because I've been watching the astrology just like you have. And because we're able to see what's going to happen, it's almost like when it happens, you're like, oh, okay, good. We're on time with astrology. And now we can focus on because astrology teaches you is both you and the collective, right? And so it gives you that balance of who are you and then who are you within the collective. A lot of times what's happening right now is most people don't know who they are. So they're just paying attention to who they are in the collective. And they go, oh my God, this is happening to our people and
Well,
we are dying.
Neptune won't tolerate that going forward.
Yeah, right. But we're in the beginning of it, right? So we're really gonna feel it as Neptune go higher up into the sun. But what we at 0 degrees right now, so like 0 to 1 degrees, like so we're just at
Yeah,
the tip of Neptune in Aries, and is gonna be there for 7 years, right? At least or 10?
10 to 15. I don't
Okay.
know the exact time, but it's closer to 10 to 15. And then Saturn will be there for 3. So this is a
Yeah.
long-term energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've got Uranus that's just moved into Gemini. Um, so that's also another 5 to 7 years. So these are all, I mean, Pluto's just moved into Aquarius. That's another 15, 20 years. So these energies, I mean, if you just take Saturn, which is the fastest moving planet that we've mentioned, no, sorry, Uranus is the fastest. Yeah, no, Saturn would be the
Yeah.
fastest
Yeah.
moving. Sorry. I got
Yeah. Yeah.
my units of measurement conversion was incorrect. Um, you just if you take Saturn into account as the fastest moving planet, that's already all these energies we're talking about. That's here for the next what, let's say 2.5 years still.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's long energies.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
hit everybody.
And this is a good time I find that if you're not being called to look at your astrology and who you are in your chart, you're going to miss an opportunity to ride the next 5 to 10 years because the next 5 to 10 years, the energy is really going into spirituality, divine interventions. And because of that, if you don't know who you are spiritually, you are going to be thrown around on the wave of change, right? Versus being the eye in the center of the storm. If you know who you are, you will be the eye in the center of the storm where the entire system is falling apart around you. You will know where you need to stand to find your peace. And that's why right now it's a very important time to find your own divine peace, but that requires you to do some dark night of the soul if you haven't already done that. Because the age of apocalypse is all about the age of revelation to be told so that we are being told who we are in the grand scheme of things. And I mean that in the grand scheme of the solar system and universe scheme. Because our planet is finally getting
So
upgraded.
you're bringing Pluto and Aquarius into the.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because you can't help it. Like Pluto in Aquarius and Gemini and Uranus is like so intense too. And because Pluto in Aquarius,
Super intense.
yeah, Pluto in Aquarius, yes, if you like AI is the biggest conversation, that's Pluto in Aquarius, y'all. So no one is ignoring AI. If anything, we don't know whether to do AI, not to do AI is the question, right? We totally have a Hamlet moment here. And so I mean, we're on the internet because of Pluto in Aquarius, and us figuring out the best
Well,
way.
we had Jupiter when we started the podcast. Jupiter was going through Gemini in my third house, and then
Exactly.
you've got Mars in natal Mars in the third house.
Yes.
So we had a lot of strong third house activation as well.
Exactly. And so I feel like Pluto and Aquarius is just giving us the technical tools to get things done faster. Because I think we are like when you guys really think about it, I mean, our age, it used to take a whole team of people to do anything, right? So let's say even a film, even a podcast studio, you required a camera guy, you required a light guy, you require a producer, a director, right? All that. Today, your phone does everything. Our phone, some of us on just on the computer running a podcast, and it's just me and Lilith, right? And so we're doing a show that people spent like 10, 15 people to run a show on TV back in the days. Now we're just doing it just from our office computers and then just having a conversation with the whole World Wide Web. That's very Pluto and Aquarius. And I think
Yeah,
that we
so
have
Pluto in Aquarius basically is transforming how you communicate to the community.
to
In
the
other words,
to the globe.
to the
Yeah.
collective,
Yeah, to the
basically.
collective. Yeah. And Aquarius has this very technological perspective. So electricity tends to be its characteristics. And as you can see, everything is computers electronic. However, now I'm gonna say
Electrifying.
huh? Electrifying, yes.
I was thinking of that song. Gotta get up on it because I need him. And you know that song from Greece? And then he goes, "It's electrifying."
Yes, exactly.
Greece, Uranus. It's electrifying.
So what's also really awesome during this Aquarian energy is that we think Aquarius is synthetic technology, and I've been following organic technology. The electricity in the soil, the electricity in your body, the electricity in the physical bodies, not synthetic metal. And that's where I think if people think that Pluto and Aquarius is just technology in the synthetic sense, they're missing the point that Pluto is breaking the system and saying, no, technology is everywhere, including the Earth herself. And I think that's to me my most exciting piece because I think when we had the Uranus in Taurus, almost like Mama Gaia told me, hey, don't forget, I'm an entire being on this planet and I'm an electrical being. So remember that I'm also part of this awakening. And so now when Pluto and Aquarius
Well,
came in,
electrical being is more yang energy, though.
that's true. That's true. She is a magnetic being, but we are seeing and feeling the electricity within her. So, because I work with a lot of soil and I've been working with electro agriculture, which is similar to electro acupuncture. But what we're realizing is like our whole body's electricity, and so is the soil. With that said, that is a very young energy because the yin energy of the Mother Earth is the magnetic field, right? We call it gravity on the Earth, but we call it auric field. And so that's what we're working when we're working in pranic healing Reiki. But in acupuncture, specifically in today's version of acupuncture, because I'm sure back in the days they used to do Reiki with acupuncture, but today, because it's just pure needles, they're working with the electrical system of the body. That's Pluto and Aquarius. Now we have this machine called the dolphin stimulation, neurostim. So we're now using these little pens are like a TENS unit, but you put them in acupuncture points. So now, one of the major things that we do with dolphin neurostim is we can clear scars. So like if you have a scar right here, you put 2 points at the top and the end of the scar, you put electricity through that scar. That scar will call stem cell, call blood, and it starts to heal itself because you're sending electrical signals to tell the body to heal itself using electricity. Pluto in Aquarius,
Pluto
y'all.
in Aquarius, I mean, Aquarius is acupuncture and it's electricity. So electrical acupuncture, I mean, is like a double whammy as far as Aquarius energy is concerned.
Exactly. Yes. So that's why it's been really exciting, just because,
You don't even have to use electrical acupuncture. Just normal acupuncture would have an impact on the electrical system in the body anyway,
yes, with
which
that
is
said,
also that.
with that said, though, I think this is where like Dr. Sparkman used to say this, but like I was like, Dr. Sparkman, you can say that, but you're missing the other piece. So he would say the best acupuncturist can just put one needle into somebody and cure them with one needle, right? I'm like, yes, but you also aren't teaching us how to use Reiki energy. So yes, you can put that one needle and I could sit there and send my energy into that one needle and do so much. But if you're not doing that energy work, one needle is not enough. And that's what
But
I'm
for Dr. Sparkman, it's enough because he's the master of chi.
Of course, right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, Dr. Sparman, you can't say that. That's so like you haven't taught us that we have the ability to send electrical signals in our hands, in our needles. Um, I've actually done invisible needlework with people. So I can actually put invisible needles in certain acupuncture points all in my mind, and the person that's receiving it will actually tell me where they're feeling what's happening. Like my sister, she's very in tune with what's happening in her body. So a couple of times I want to test this out because I didn't have needles at the time. I go, I'm gonna put these in your body and see if you feel it. And she'd go, ow, Charlie, ow, what are you? Oh, I feel it. And then she would tell me exactly where I put it. She would feel the meridians. I was like, wow. So we can
It's
literally,
amazing.
yeah, we can really use our energetic points to connect to somebody's body without the physical needs. Granted, the physical needs is much more potent because it affects the physical plane of our existence. But really, spirituality actually is what informs the physical reality that we experience.
I remember there was one day where I was doing yoga and I looked up, and for some unknown reason that day I could see the energy flowing into and out of my body. Specifically, I saw the hand because I was doing like a triangle pose, and I looked up and I saw like the literally the energy flowing into the hand and then out of the hand. So I saw the full circle, and that is continuous, absolutely continuous. So it's there. How you choose to direct it. This is when you become a master of chi, when you can direct that energy and do something with it, like what you're talking about now uh, with the needles and everything. That
Yeah.
sounds amazing. I'm excited about that because I'm also running out of needles this side. I might have to do invisible. Pluto, Pluto, hidden needles. You can't see it. It's secret needles.
Yeah, yeah. I was able
You're
to,
giving people acupuncture from afar.
right? So
If
that was
somebody's
a,
rude to you, I'll do like an invisible like
yeah.
yin song.
But you also know that this was also back in China, like certain people were not allowed to touch the kings and queens. Right? And so remember you heard the story of like they used to like touch the pulse but like couldn't touch the person. And so like they would
Yeah.
do tricks to figure out what the body was going, but like we weren't allowed to even look at the king and queens, right? So back in the days I could totally see me practicing like throwing darts while you're like closing your eyes at the king and queen. Like, I got you, king. You're like, you're not allowed to look at the
Or you
camera.
could just observe the tongue. Speaking of which, with Aries and Neptune and Saturn, you've got this hot and cold there. And then, of course, with the water, so that's like steam. For me, it's also a sign of dampness. Maybe that steam is the beginning of the dampness. I already had a dampness problem, and I noticed since Neptune and Saturn went into Aries, pathology on my tongue is the worst I've ever seen it. In fact, there's no more space for more messages to go for my body to tell me. It's just screaming at me to help with the dampness. So for me, Neptune and Saturn in Aries, we're also just coming out of summer, so it's late summer. So obviously that is the time for dampness. But you oaks are going into summer now, so I suspect by the end of summer, your pathologies that you'll see in the clinic with regards to dampness will be worse than other years because of Neptune and Saturn in Aries.
Interesting. Okay,
And then
okay.
we'll talk about sacred medicine. But one thing I want to say, just with that alone, with that dampness alone, that breathing with a longer exhale is one of the things that helps, get rid of that dampness. So like inhaling 4 and exhaling like 8, double the amount of the inhale, gets rid of excess in the system.
Yeah.
But,
We call
but we'll
it,
talk about that now. But just while we were talking about it, I just wanted to mention that
yeah,
because that
yeah.
specifically helps with it.
It's a good reminder. We call it turbidity in Chinese medicine, that the gunk that needs to come out. Yeah, yeah. How you liking the no edited, unfiltered version of Dr. Charlie and Lilith, everybody? We all decided that we're not going to edit any of the stuff. So whatever you guys are getting now is just, bloopers that you're just gonna enjoy, okay? Because
Yeah, it's bloopers and what? Oh, oopsie daisies. What I wanted to know is, oh, I mean, I look like I need a serious tan for somebody who's just come out of the. Yeah, I think it's the light that's making me so white. Put some blush on, but it doesn't seem to be showing on camera.
And on my end, I always look orange for some reason.
Yeah, you got a nice color. That's
Yeah,
the color I'm trying to get when I lie in the sun.
you guys are so funny. This is
And
like
somehow I ended up like Casper the Ghost or
skin
milk bottles.
skin is and it's ironic. Let's talk about skin for a little bit because skin's really funny, right? Because um skin would only matter when you are living a very physical life, right? But with Neptune in Aries coming in, it feels like Neptune's like, we're bigger than skin deep. Like our soul is beyond skin deep. So it's really funny that there's this huge push, and we've seen this because the Korean people have suddenly shared their secrets of skin beauty and porcelain doll face, right? And so now a lot of women and a lot of people are now all into skin beauty, and it's really interesting. But again, want to remind people that like that healing should come from within and not just putting a whole bunch of stuff on your face, right? Because that health really does come from the inside of you. And so when you are exuding beauty, that's because internally you are healthy and that's coming out of your looks. Versus too many times people kind of get, with the ego, get caught up with like putting makeup on and like they haven't done the internal work, right? And that's what's really important to go through is Neptune, Saturn is kind of telling us, hey, like break down your sense of beauty, but Saturn's like rebuild it from within, right? And that's a very important time for us to
Oh,
pay attention to that too. Because it's funny, but like so around my office, we have a couple of tanning salons. And y'all like, so if you guys don't know, I'm a big camper. I love camping. Me and a whole bunch of friends, we love what we call the preventive experiences, where we're trying to get people back into nature so that they can forget all the distraction of the city, all the things that don't matter. Because when you are in nature, really, it's just you and nature. And suddenly the amount of divine messages that come through is really potent because you're not being bombarded by all the EMF, all the other crazy thoughts that people are flying around them, right? And so what's really important is that in being able to go into that primitive style, you are able to really recognize like the minimum needs that you have, right? And one of the things that we do is like, do you guys know, have you guys done the clay face, right? Where you put the clay mask on and then like it like squeezes your face and then it pulls out any gunk outside of your pores, right? What's really ironic is that clay comes from the earth. And so where we go camping now, we'll take clay from the ground and we put it in our face and give us a mud bath. It's, and this is like the primitive stuff. I'm getting a free mud bath. And
I
then,
don't know, Charlie. You've got Neptune. I just want to say this
okay.
before you carry on doing that kind of practice. You've got Neptune, which is essentially that planet of disease, especially hidden disease. So I'll say now bacteria related diseases. Okay. And then you've got Aries, which is the face. So, I don't know. And then Saturn is there with the mud. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying these energies are pointing directly to that shit not going well.
Well, okay, okay. However, again, I really believe that bacteria is based on negative parasites and there's positive parasites. That's why we created a whole thing called probiotics. Meaning that, again, if you're gonna go, this is where primitive experience is. If you see stagnant water and dirt that hasn't been touched, probably not. If you have running water next to mud, possibly good. So our bodies also has, so the earth has natural healing places. That's why we used to have, that's where we get spring water from because of running water. But if you see stagnant water, we go, there's probably diseases there. I agree with you. However, people who are not used to primitive life will make these mistakes. People who are used to primitive life recognize the do's and don't do. Okay? So with that said, I'm not telling everybody to go outside and go find mud. I'm just telling you that if you are in tune with nature, most of your services are free. What I was saying is people next door pay $150, $200 possibly to get on a little thing that has lights, and then you just sit in there for an hour and you're getting soaking up fake lights so you could get a fake tan. Or you can go outside and get a free sun bath, and then people are going to tell you, oh, you don't want to get skin cancer. I'm sorry. Skin cancer comes from seed oils and all the hydrogenated oils
Yeah.
that interacts with the
I
sun.
mean, I don't know if a tanning bed prevents you from getting skin cancer. I think you still get skin cancer with a tanning bed. Maybe not with tanning spray, but a tanning bed for sure. But the
Yeah.
point is, yes, you're 100% right. For me, tanning is not a luxury. I actually tan as a necessity. Like, you've got to work out, you've got to eat, you've got to sleep. For me, I've got to tan. It falls within the ambient of those essentials because of exactly what you're saying, right? To get that sun into my body. Like that's actually what I'm doing,
Yeah.
rather than tanning, to look good. The looking good is a default, like you said, when you've taken care of the inside, it's reflected on the outside.
Yeah.
But I mean, it must be that mud must be working on you because you're looking good, Charlie. Your skin on your face is looking fantastic.
I really have to admit this is because I really, really be very careful what I eat. I do not eat fast food ever. I haven't touched fast food in almost 15 years, 20 years. I really rarely out at restaurants, y'all. You guys don't understand. And when I go get groceries, I'm the weird person that looks in the back and tries to read every ingredient before I pick it up. And if I sit there for 20 minutes, I put it back on the shelf. Because if I look at it and I can read it
Yeah,
and I
it's more necessary in the States than most other
I know,
countries
right,
because
right.
you've just got
Yes.
sugar and all sorts of shit in
Exactly.
there.
We have all kinds of fucked up shit in our food, in our stuff today.
Did
Yes.
you hear what happened? I think it's Italy or no, I forget now. Sorry, carry on, carry on. Lost my train
Yeah,
of
keep
thought.
going. Yeah, there's some stuff going out there. And so this is where like now the whole big thing about RFK Jr. and the Maha movement, which is Make America Healthy Again, we are really pushing against these derivative chemicals that are being put into everything that we do, from our soaps, from our food, from everything that put on our skin and our bodies. And so we're constantly being bombarded by a lot of these toxins. This is why actually.
Where Bill Gates apparently, oh yes, Italy, Italy banned Bill Gates's fake meat.
Yeah,
It's the first country to ban Bill Gates's fake meat,
that
and
should be
he is apparently
obvious.
pissed.
That should be
Huh?
obvious. You mean
I
the
don't even
guy
know
who
why he
made?
attempted. I really thought he was smart, but with his fake meat scenario,
Oh, he's smart. He tricked a whole bunch of
I'm
people.
reevaluating that conclusion. Huh?
Well, he's smart enough to try to trick everybody into stupid shit. So that's really us, the dumb ones, who are just believing. Okay, first of all, we're gonna believe a guy who doesn't know how to build a computer, who built the worst computer of all, who has the most diseases in the world. That computer, the MC, I mean, the Windows machine, has the most amount of viruses in the whole world, more than a prostitute. Okay. And was a computer engineer, y'all. I had to study why the hell
Windows machine, I don't think I've got any viruses.
Windows is the number one machine that gets viruses. And I went and studied because I studied securities in
Well, what
school.
other machine is there? There's an Apple machine.
And then
So it's
Linux.
only those two.
And then Linux. Linux, there's three. The third one is for all the
Okay.
geeks. The Windows is for everybody. The Mac is for people who like design, artists. Okay? Um, the Windows machine, do you guys know that viruses on Windows, okay, your Mac, someone coded that shit, okay? It's not a random virus. That means that the Windows machine, it's so open to be attacked that basically it's got autoimmune disease, okay? Windows machine has an autoimmune disease and it cannot handle viruses. That's why you guys have you guys know that Norton antivirus is for Windows. No one uses antivirus for the Mac. I've never installed the antivirus machine for the Macintosh. I've I've never reinstalled my Macintosh or Apple computer. In Windows, every 6 months to a year, I'd have to reinstall everything because I didn't know what was being left inside of the computer from other people app or software leaving on my computer. So that's why I switched out of Windows. I've never touched a Windows machine ever again because I hated fixing it because of stupid virus. With that said, the same guy who not invented, I'm going to say that in the quotes because he did not invent it. He just plagiarized and patented like other Americans do. And then he now is going around and patenting and vaccines. Like the same guy who couldn't fix the viruses in his computer is now going to tell us that he knows how to deal with viruses using
It's
vaccines.
viruses in the physical body.
I know. And he's not a doctor. And then now he's gonna say, I'm gonna grow fake meat. This guy should be fired and taken to jail. This guy has no degree for any of this. Yet, how is he spending all this money to do this stuff? And that's where I think Saturn and Neptune in Aries is going to get people to realize that he's a very bad apple and he needs to be Neptunized. I don't know what's the best way of saying that, but like he's not a
Or
good person.
Neptunized is exposed.
Yeah, he needs to be Neptunized. And he's
We'll
not the only
coin it,
one.
Charlie. We'll
He's not the,
coin it.
yeah, he's not the only one, y'all. The amount of these CEOs have done really shitty stuff to us as people. Like we should be paying attention. That's why I have not been eating anyone's processed food in a while because I studied this stuff and I left Western medicine because I went to ask Western medicine how I could heal myself. They didn't fix me. So I realized it was food, diet, and exercise. And since then, I don't have health insurance and I will never get health insurance because I will keep eating better food, working out, and breathing correctly. Like those things, if you don't have those, you don't have your health. And that's why we're seeing a huge renaissance in the wellness space. Wellness space to me is the medical women left medicine, went to the spa space and realized spa was too casual, and then created the wellness space to be less casual, more professional healing, but not medical healing. That is why I'm in the wellness space. Acupuncture does really well in the wellness space, because the wellness space is the preventative medicine that Western medical medicine does not want to address, right? And so that's why now we're seeing really a heavy masculine patriarch medicine, and now the feminine matriarch medicine is wellness. And now hopefully they'll
But
come.
can Western medicine really address that? Because at the end of the day, Western medicine, by its very nature, does not pay attention to any of the energy in the body, only the physical structure, maybe the physiology, maybe. They're very much concerned with the physical structure
Yeah.
and how that impacts the functioning. Do you know what I'm saying?
But it's because it no longer follows science, it follows political science. I'm sorry, guys. If you guys think that today's science is science, you guys should really read up on some scientific studies. We are not living in science, true science. We're living in political science. Because who pays for the studies to show evidence-based practice, right? If like literally an entire race of Asians prove that acupuncture works, yet to the West, and we haven't paid for those studies, so we cannot prove that acupuncture works because we haven't paid for those studies. Because only the studies are done in Asia, in China, with Chinese people. So it might not work for Western human bodies. That's the science we're in today, y'all. So, if you really think that science
So
is the
annoying.
evidence-based practice that you're looking for in your medical practice, you can see that medicine's been a little tricky in the last couple of years. Oops. I got some technical difficulty going on here.
That is what we've had. 2 months of technical difficulties
I know.
and no tan.
Okay, cool,
At least I
cool.
did go for a walk today and I painted some doors.
Oh, there you go. Nice. So overall, I think we're a very good time in our lives if you've really done your personal work, the ability to find discernment in what you need. Even in medicine, I tell people all the time, ask your body what it needs. If you go, oh, I need a cold plunge because everyone's getting cold plunge, no. Don't do that. You guys have to stop following trends. Oh, it's a fasting trend, and then people start fasting. You don't know how to fast. You don't know what to do to fast. You don't know how long to fast. You don't know what's happening to your body when you're fasting. So don't just fast because everybody else is fasting, y'all. Like it's very important that people don't just jump on these trend bandwagons, hurt themselves, and then hate that practice of medicine because they did it in the wrong time, right? Like right now, during our summer days, when we are having sunstrokes everywhere during our summer, cold plunge should be sold out everywhere. The fact that cold plunge get pushed during winter season is the fact that like we're not paying attention to the seasons, to the environment, and to our bodies to listen to the medicine that we need. So that's why in general, Western medicine, like you're saying, it doesn't care about the person who's receiving the treatment. Because the person who's receiving the treatment, if they can ask their body if that body needs it, the body will tell you, no, please don't put me in a cold plunge. Women who have cramp, women who have PCOS, don't jump in cold water, y'all. You're supposed to be in hot water to try to get that heat from within to move the blood so that the blood can go into the uterus and then make the uterus supple or like soft so that when it's time for your period or your cycle, when it's shedding that uterus lining, it's not wringing a dry towel looking for blood and giving you really, really fucked up cramps. That's why you have crazy cramps. You're not drinking enough water to get enough blood to flow. And so that's why today now women are on birth control because they're having bad periods, not enough blood. Everybody's anemic, right? All these women have all these horse iron pills, and then all of them are doing cold plunges, and then now
That's
they
I think that's Pluto in Aquarius right there.
yes, yes. And so that's why now with Neptune in Aries, discernment, guys, because delusion will be very rampant in your ego if you're not paying attention to what your ego needs. The delusion will kick in. You're like, oh,
For
everybody's
sure.
getting a cold plunge, so I should get a cold plunge. And then boom, Neptune hits you in the face and go, hey, that's not for you. Like, please don't like follow people because you think that like, oh, they have such a beautiful body. If I follow what they do, I'm gonna have a beautiful body like them. They're not telling you everything they're doing. And that's the problem of marketing today. You're like hot body go, oh, I use this cold plunge and I became this amazing guy. That person already looked like that and he was paid to tell cold plunge worked for him. So be careful that you're not just going out there and just doing whatever people tell you because they look hot. right? But that's going to be a lot of this Neptune and Aries. We're going to get tricked
Sure.
into thinking like the next revolution of medicine, but it's not for you because you're not tuning into that spiritual ego, that Neptune and Aries telling you you have a spiritual ego.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
Should we should we go on to sacred medicine for today?
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, look, Saturn and Neptune is such a big energy to discuss. We can discuss it on the next episode as well, because there were so many things that we haven't even touched yet. Uh,
The-
we
the-
could sit here all day just discussing Neptune and Saturn in Aries, just
yeah.
what it is.
Well, what's great too is because, and we're hoping to, the reason why we're also doing it this way, y'all, is because we're hoping to post our shows a little bit more often after we publish this. And so hopefully a lot of our topics will be in the astrology that we're experiencing, right? So right now this topic is huge and we'll be talking this for a while, but in the next, next time we'll probably talk about something that is happening within the 2 week range. And hopefully we'll change out these backgrounds so they're much more aligned with our topics of conversation. So cool. Let's get into this sacred
So,
temple.
yeah, so I've got some notes here for the sacred medicine.
Cool, cool.
So, what I wanted to say, so what I wrote down here is I think I already said that, yeah. So remember when we spoke about in the beginning where I said it's almost like people have got like a loss of will or a loss of direction and that loss of purpose, which is leading to that identity dissolution. But it's not really a loss of will per se. It's like what I said, rather the removal of false will, right? Before that true will can emerge. Because that Neptune and Saturn in Aries is really no longer acting from the ego, but the embodiment of divine will, right? Um, it's really bringing like God's will into your drive rather than your own ego. So the remedies are really about rebuilding that will from the body and the spirit, not from the mind. Jupiter is no longer in Gemini. Uranus is there, but I think Uranus being in Gemini is very much more going to help with that Neptune in Aries. Uranus in Gemini is really going to help with that communication between you and the divine so that your intuition gets louder so that you can start listening to it and embodying it. So that for me is really, Uranus moving. But anyway, so the practices, okay. So I've got here a Vedic practice, which is called Agni discipline. So it's called like sacred fire training. Um, so because we have got that Saturn and Neptune, so it's water and it's cold energy. It's almost like extinguishing that fire, right? So this is really a practice where you act only after stillness. Okay. So before taking any action, you pause, you take one full breath cycle, inhale and exhale, and then you ask internally, is this impulse fleeting or is it steady? Because if it's fleeting, don't act. If it's steady, you can act immediately. But this is really rebuilding pure will because it's not reactive will. That reactive will, that sense of urgency, that pressure, that's coming from that old ego drive that's now going to be dissolving, right? So this is rebuilding that pure will and that alignment with understanding what God's will is. So this is another practice similar to that, which is sitting in the void without movement. It's almost something similar, but not quite. Where the other one is like pausing before acting, this is just sitting in the void. No acting, no nothing, right? So because that Neptune dissolves identity, what's going to happen is people are going to be panicking because they're going to be looking for purpose, right? And they're also going to be trying to find this through their mind with Uranus and Gemini, but that's not going to work. And you know that because you watch Lunacy and Logic. But what's happening is it's a non-action sitting session, right? So you sit for 10 minutes. I would say this is a nice practice for the evening, but I guess you can do it in the morning or midday as well. You sit for 10 minutes. No goal, no fixing, no internet, no nothing. Just sit there in a void, in stillness. And that really increases that tolerance for emptiness because with this dissolution of the identity, best you all get used to some emptiness because it's headed your way with the dissolution of the ego, I'm afraid. But I mean, if you can be okay with that emptiness, then it's going to be less of an issue for you, right? And once you can sit in that void, it gives you space for your own identity to form again, because that identity has got to reform from this new pure world. So that's the one. And then the last one I got is a 3-day commitment. So this is very much bringing in Saturn's energy, the energy of discipline and commitment. So you choose one action that you commit to, that you do um, every day for 3 days. Okay. This can be something simple like waking at a fixed time, uh, taking a walk daily, completing one specific task, whatever it is. It's not negotiable. You have to do it once a day, every day for 3 days. Um, and that is all about Saturn building structure. That's what you're training there for. So Aries expresses through action, and that Neptune confusion is then bypassed once you uh, express it through action, right? So that is actually a pre-Hellenistic Aries discipline. I think they also maybe pronounce it Aries, but I'm saying Aries because it's that original word that Aries actually comes from, the Ares. So that's actually an ancient practice, y'all. But I guess the really important thing that I want to say is, before you're acting, asking yourself, is your body tense or is it grounded? Um, is your breath shallow or is it deep? Is your mind, is it calm or is there a sense of urgency? So you can tell which side of the energies you're on. Like if your breath is shallow, you're not aligned. If your body is tense, you're not aligned. If your mind is urgent or under pressure, you're not aligned. It requires a grounded body, calm mind, and deep breath work to be aligned with its energies. And once you've figured out that you're aligned, then I would say act immediately, if not sooner, in Aries energy. But only once you're aligned. This is the key. And I think, especially in the beginning of this transit, we're going to be learning more how to align. So I don't think that action Aries energy is quite what you would expect at first, because that action Aries energy is really you acting on getting aligned. Do you know what I'm saying? On practicing that alignment itself with Neptune and Saturn. And then once you've got that in, then the action is just a default, right? It just happens naturally.
Yeah, I thank you for that. It's definitely super helpful. And I would also add that piece is you're being asked to tune back into your own intuition. Neptune in Aries is like your intuitive knowing is backing the body. That means that right now, take the time to trust your body and to do evidence-based practice, meaning that when you get an intuitive hit, confirm it. Don't just go, oh, I don't know what this is, and then forget it. This is what we've been doing for the last hundreds of years. And that's why we do stupid shit today, follow dumbass people, and think we're like stupid because we are, because we're not using our divine intelligence, our intuition. There's been books written about this, and guess what? It's apparently very native to women. This is why women have been repressed to not use their native intuitive gifts. And so many men have this. It just, those men aren't being asked to use that because it requires them to actually be able to cry, y'all. Like, men are supposed to cry too, okay? And if you don't, that's on you because you don't get to experience the depth of the divine without the tears of the soul, right? And that's what's really important that we also break this. I'm gonna say right now, Neptune, Saturn, and Aries are gonna tell man, fucking stop acting like you can't cry. Fucking cry so you can get over your shit and then get back up. That's our power. If you can't cry and you're holding it in and you trying to avoid shit, you'll keep being weak. Cry it out so you can get over it and then move on. That's our power as men. And I find that before when I wasn't allowing myself to tune into my, feminine intuitive side, I was constantly doing stupid men shit that didn't mean shit. And today now I'll be like, wow, Charlie, you're very masculine, but you don't know anything masculine. I don't have to anymore. I don't have to prove that I'm a man. I just have to be myself, and people saw that I'm both in tune with my feminine and my masculine, and that allows me to be way more masculine because I recognize that I can cry, that I love to cry when shit goes bad, right? But then guess what? I keep going. And so this is like that where men and women are going to meet again is men have to learn to cry and women have to learn to stop judging, okay? Stop judging. You judge women, you judge
Don't even
men.
get me started. Don't even get me
Yeah,
started.
because this has been the attack on men. And that's why, like, this Aries energy has gone so toxic because the women have been judging everything men do. And now men and women hate each other. And now we're not having kids. Okay. So the problem is let men allow themselves to be vulnerable again, but then get back up. Women, stop judging everything a man does because half the time you can't do that shit anyways. So do the shit you're good at and stop judging what a different gender is doing, okay? Because technically, if you're judging men, you should be judging yourself first, right? And clearly, women, I'm sorry to say, but you guys, if you guys aren't taking
If
care
you're
of
judging
children,
anybody, you should be judging yourself first.
exactly. And not just that, but like women, if you guys aren't taking care of children and not taking care of the food, this is why we eat shitty food and we are dying from the crappy food out there. Because machines are making food, not women. So when we're like, oh, you think women should be staying home and cooking food? Yes, so we can live, okay? Because when we're not,
To be fair, in my family, the men are the cooks, and they cook much better than the women.
I will tell you
I
also
mean, I
in my
also
house,
I do cook in my house, but I'm just saying, like, my family is a family of
in my
male
house, it
cooks.
is also the man who cooks. So I
Yeah.
understand this, but this isn't
I don't
again.
know. I don't know. I don't think it's the women getting lazy. I think like the men cooking in my family like love cooking. Like they find it
So
relaxing. They're good at it.
yeah, it's just no, the thing though is just what's missing is the nutrients. Men cook is very different from women cooking. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
the
I don't think they necessarily cook healthy.
in general, it just we should stop allowing corporations to cook because they're making things unhealthy. When anything is cooked at home, it is healthy because it's made out of love, it's made out of the ingredients you know. Half the time, are you putting the exorbitol and the Latin word and the fake chemicals in your food? No, because you literally care about the people you're feeding, men or women. Anyone who's at home cooking for the people they love, they're not putting chemicals. So when that happens, we're now eating better food. And that's why we need to stop relying on grocery stores, restaurants, and fast food and corporations and medicine, right? I heard the biggest burn that I recently heard from Asians is they said, Americans, why do you guys eat like you guys have free health care? Do you guys hear that? Yes. Yes. It's fucked up, but
Sorry.
it's so true, y'all. We should not be eating like we have free health care because we don't. That means that it's telling us eat because you don't have health care and that eating is the healthcare revolution. I haven't I haven't had healthcare and insurance because my insurance is the food that I eat, y'all. And that's why I'm telling you, if we can start eating at home again and have home cooked meals, we're not showing up in the hospitals. Period. That's my secret medicine.
This is a we can actually. I mean, Saturn and Neptune in Aries. I'm not going to lie, is a whole conversation on food, especially the health of water. I would say, but I
Yes.
don't want to go into that now. I want to go back to quickly what you were talking about in terms of being a man and so forth, crying and getting it out, because that's that water energy in the fire, right? Crying from the anger, just letting it out. That's the balance there. But what I want to say is, I agree with you. Um, and the reason and basically about that I agree with you is because suppression is not going to work in this energy. You know what I'm saying? That if you think that you're dealing with something because you suppress it, this is where disease comes in the body. So and this is why you see in the collective there's a big move towards authenticity. And that's exactly that. You can't, I'm still busy clearing some family bloodline karma. And the point is, as these things are happening, the fact of the matter is I can't fake my way through it. I can't pretend it's okay. You know what I'm saying? The energy either is or it isn't. So you either are you either are okay or you're not. And if you're suppressing that shit, you're not okay. And that energy is sitting there. So yeah, I definitely think with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, that's also something to be aware of, because that's like, you know, that Neptune is that hidden disease that's being caused by the suppression, and then Saturn is that coming into manifestation in the physical body, you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, authenticity is the name of the game in these energies for sure.
And Aries is really good at bringing that authenticity back. Fire signs really brings out authenticity because that fire, if you hold it in, it burns within. Okay? So authenticity, fire signs are much better. Fire signs tend to have a hard time lying because they get really hot inside if they lie. So that's why we have to express it.
That's so true, Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
Yes.
Like I knew I always got hot, but I didn't link it to the fire sign. That's
Yeah.
classic. I thought it was just me.
Yeah, no, so I'm a Leo rising, you're an Aries rising. And so I found during the days when I used to work in corporate that I used to get very angry a lot because of corporate. And so I go home and work out. And I would work out to burn the heat and anger that I was feeling. But I wasn't suppressing it. I was not talking in front of my peers to lash out at them, but I went home and then let it out. I may have
Processed
suppressed
it in
it
one
at
way or
work,
another.
exactly. I processed it when I got home. I didn't just like ignore it the whole day. I went home, I worked out, and my best workout was because I was really angry, right? I have a hard time working out today because I'm not as angry anymore, right? But now I have to learn how to use my energy to work out. But I'm just saying that fire sign is a good time for us to get into that authenticity. So right now, during that Aries energy, it is allowing us to be authentic. So, and with that authenticity, we're gonna fuck up. But that's why we're saying stop with the judgment, everyone. Stop it. If you're judging people being authentic and then they choose not to be authentic anymore. And then it's a vicious cycle. So authenticity
Well,
requires
with
every,
Saturn, the planet of, I mean, okay, I know it's actually Libra and Venus, but I would say almost like Saturn is that planet of judgment from the point of view that it's that authority figure,
yes, correct.
so they're
Right.
like the reprimanding one.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, with Neptune there, uh, that judgment is going to come back and bite you in the ass,
Exactly.
and you're not going to see it coming.
Yeah. And the reason why also Saturn in Aries is going through a lot is because it's telling the authority that the authority goes back into the person. Okay. You as a person have your authority of what you need. Stop relegating. This is COVID. When your body needed something and COVID and every authority told you you need something else, clash, right? So Aries and Saturn is telling you trust yourself and trust your authority. Don't trust outside authority. And that is why, even in America, we're going through rescheduling marijuana has just been rescheduled. Why? Because authority should not be telling what we grow and what we can eat. Because if our ego, our bodies need it, our bodies need to do it. And that's why everyone's been using cannabis secretly, even though the government told us not to. Because the authority cannot tell you what your body needs. Right? And it's not just cannabis, it's all the plant medicine that's been illegal. Jeez, are you crazy? Like, even today, they're like, oh, it turns out mushroom psychedelics is able to bring
Oh,
back
don't even get
nervous
me started on the
system.
mushrooms.
Okay. So Saturn in Aries is telling you that your body needs what it needs and don't trust an authority to tell you you can't have it. Right? That's literally the Native American lost everything when they were told all their medicine was illegal. Right? Like, how is that okay? That is not okay. So we are now going to what I said, ancient medicine, ancient life, wisdom coming back to a modern day. We can't just throw the entire baby with the bath out water. We need to get that baby back, right? So a lot of these ancient medicines are coming back, and the authority that tells
That
you,
baby back, baby back, baby back.
I want my baby, baby, baby back, baby. No copyrights, please. No copyrights. Yes.
I don't think my singing is that good that they're gonna copyright that shit, bro.
Oh,
Let's
just
just get real here for a sec.
no judgment. We're just having
Exactly.
fun.
Exactly.
But
Those
yeah.
of you judging that I'm so white, I'm actually blue from whiteness. I don't know what's going on. Something is not right with the lighting today. I'll
I
have to
know.
really go spend some time in the sun. That doesn't look healthy. I obviously did not apply my makeup correctly because I don't think I'm that white in real life. There's some
Fun.
color here.
Yeah, it is the lighting. It is the lighting. Anyways, so thank you so much for a beautiful episode. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as well. We're really trying to, again, we're going with the astrology, and the astrology told us to change the
Yeah,
way
we're
we
also
do.
trying to find our authenticity, you know?
Yes, yes, yes. We both are really trying to be in that authenticity, and we're also asking no judgment. We're just having fun, y'all. So thank you so much for this beautiful episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our show, and yeah, please follow us, join us, and please ask us any questions you have about astrology or health, wellness. We love talking about it and sharing our wisdom. So,
Spirituality,
spirituality for sure.
God.
Yes, yes, all of it.
I
So
love
until
answering
next
questions
time.
about God.
Yes, yes. So thank you, everyone. So until next time, goodbye. Oh, oh, that's
Namaste.
namaste.